accusation of a racial slur was treated more seriously than an act of murder. What does he say? I can't breathe. Familiar words? Remember career criminal George Floyd, who died in appalling circumstances in Midwest America a few years ago. Remember the reaction to that and the way the police behaved. Within a few days, Keir Starmer was taking the knee. Black Lives Matter exploded all over the country. Churchill's statue was defaced. The cenotaph was vandalised. And yet, what has the public reaction been from our leaders and politicians, and indeed, to be frank, much of the media to this? Silence. Absolute silence. Proof, if ever there was any, that we're living in a two-tier culture in this country where the rights and privileges of white people matter less than those of ethnic minorities.
They're locking the roads off now because there isn't enough room to contain the crowds.
Hampshire police have said that 11 officers and 1 police dog were injured after violent clashes between its officers and protesters near where Henry Nowak was stabbed to death in Southampton. These are images from yesterday evening. Demonstrators threw objects at officers in riot gear after police body cam footage was released showing the 18-year-old being handcuffed and arrested as he lay dying after being stabbed, despite telling officers he couldn't breathe.
Since I've been here, there have been some violent clashes between protesters and riot police. There have been riot police at both ends of the road, which we believe the Vikram Digwar's family live on. Riot shields, police vans in place, lots of missiles thrown, including water bottles, bricks. There was an electric scooter thrown at the police at one stage. Some of the protesters were quite bloodied as the police tried to maintain control and hold the police line. The police helicopter, as you may hear, is in the skies above me. We've also had the police drone. A large crowd, probably around 200 to 250 people, many of them wearing masks or trying to hide their identity, and were at times rushing the police lines. Further reinforcements from the police came to support their colleagues, but this doesn't particularly look like it's going to end anytime soon. The crowd are chanting abuse and throwing as many missiles as they can. We obviously don't know if any of the residents of that house are still there, if they've been potentially moved away, but clearly the protesters knew where to come. Police are trying to maintain a significant presence here. The protesters don't show any sign of leaving, and as obviously mentioned, you've seen some of the pictures of kind of some of the clashes and the missiles which have been thrown.
I want to discuss the unlawful killing of Henry Nowak, a Polish, I'm not sure if he's a Polish student, but I know he was Polish. The same Polish that the English were saying, go back over, we don't want you here. The same Polish that didn't feel wanted after the Brexit vote. The same Polish that they accused of taking their jobs, Suddenly they care, because they want to politicize, his death, But that's not the point of this video. His death was tragic, for the police to, they knew he was bleeding, He said, look, I can't breathe, for which all these racists out there now are parodying, George Floyd. I can't breathe, I can't breathe. They were laughing at George Floyd. You can see the memes on everywhere, YouTube, Bing, laughing at George Floyd. Yet they have no problem using that same phrase for, for this unfortunate person.
I can't breathe! I can't breathe! I can't breathe! I can't breathe!
Henry saying, I can't breathe, I can't breathe. They're mocking him. They're using it as a parody. But the parents, of this young chap warned Farage, do not use his death, for your own weapon. She warned Tommy Robinson, do not use his death for your own political gain. And just like the Muslim grooming gang, when the parents were saying, don't use this for your own ends, these people have an agenda. They don't care about this Polish individual. They never cared about the victims of grooming gang. They never cared about their own white girls. Look at the evidence here. You have to question, what are their motives? Farage, who was hiding after his $5 million donation, he was hiding, came out the woodwork to play the race card. It's okay if you're white to play the race card, as long as you're white. And you imagine you're going through some white, if you like, in comparison to the Negro spiritual, the white spiritual. You try to power image, you know, what black people's gone through, real suffering. What happened to Henry was sad. This nasty individual stabbed him and then turned around and says he was racist. You see the guy bleeding. If I'm having a fight with a white guy, okay, I don't know who started, but the guy's bleeding. Okay, I stabbed him, which I wouldn't do, and he's bleeding. And I'm going to say, well, he was racist towards me. I'm not going to say, look, fair is fair. I'm going to squabble. Things got carried away. My humanity in me would say, look, save the guy. Save the guy. The police was wrong. The police saw he was bleeding and they still put handcuffs on him. They saw he was bleeding. Same parallel to George Floyd. They saw he was bleeding, but they never cared. They handcuffed him. Typical of the police. There must have been an agenda. They want a race war. Because the police, as we know, even the racists know, because they use the police as a weapon. The police are institutionally racist. So why would a police officer ignore their own, quote unquote, being stabbed and handcuff him? It must come from the top. Somebody's praying for a race war, as Tommy Robinson says.
I notice you're wearing a shirt or a button that says "I'm a Zionist." Yep. What does a Zionist mean to you? What is a Zionist?
Well, a Zionist is someone who believes in a homeland for Jewish people.
I believe. My definition, when I've looked at that in the dictionary, is Israel first.
It means Israel first.
Yes.
Okay. Well.
Well, there is a negative incantation in a lot of realms about Zionism, and since it does denote that it is Israel first, can you possibly serve two masters? Meaning, can you serve England and Israel at the same time?
Shalom. Listen, let me tell you something. Yeah. If there was a war tomorrow, which there will be, because I'll probably start at the end of the session. If there was a war and it kicked off, I would be there on the front line fighting for Israel.
If there isn't a race war, I will cause one. Elon Musk even said he's going to coax it up. And this is what they're doing. All you have to do, create the right bait, create the right situation. And people are so gullible they'll eat it up. And you know who's going to suffer as a result of this? Not the Sikh community, not the Muslim community, black people. We'll get all the evil stares. We'll get all the animosity. They won't show the Asian community. They won't show the Muslim community, nor the Sikh community, who are strong. They will show their hatred towards black people. Just like Erica Clark, all over the media, they saying she was involved in Charles Kirk's death. They say she was involved in Epstein, etc. This is what Candace Owens says. She was involved in child trafficking. Not my words. Candace Owen. Yet it was black people that bear the brunt of Charlie Kirk's death. always black people that bear the brunt because we're vulnerable, we're not united, and they can do it. What happened to Henry Nowak was sad. I can't imagine being in his situation, bleeding to death, and a stupid police officer just stand over you, okay, handcuff you. That officer is accessory after the fact because he knew that guy was dying. He knew it, but he didn't care. That police officer should also, not an accomplice, but accessory after the fact. He knew what would happen. That person would die, and he did die. So both of them should be in prison, not just the seat guy. But what's happening, sadly, Nigel Farage, yet again, coming at the woodworks, woodwork. What he did, he hid of his 5 million donation. He hid. He was nowhere to be seen. He said, oh, the media's not covered it, this two-tier system. Do you know, I saw it on Facebook, I saw it on TikTok, I saw it on Instagram. You can't ignore it. And I thought, I had to do a video. They're shoving it in my face. Oh, you can't see, the media's quiet. It's everywhere. The same guy who caused the race riot. The same guy. Well, I ain't nothing to do with it. I'm only saying, I'm only questioning. I'm only putting ideas in your mind. This multi-millionaire. And we're playing right into the bait. Right into it. Games that rich men play. We're nothing more than Monopoly in this chess game. Why would the police allow it to happen? Why would you allow Henry to die? What's his motives? But nobody cares. We just want a race war.
If you don't think, they will think for you. If you don't cry for peace, they will come for you. They'll love you today, they'll love you confused. If you don't cry for justice, they will come for you. Can you cry that you can't see the pain? Don't question why they've got your mind in a maze.